at the Legislature is a live half-hour weekly news program that focuses on the topics of the week state.
Are you looking for an easy way to get involved in the legislative process? Stop by the Public Access Room located in Room 401 at the Hawaii State Capitol. The Public Access Room provides citizens of Hawaii's facilities, services, and equipment to enhance their ability to participate in the legislative process. The public is welcome to track and affect legislation pending before the Hawaii State Legislature.
Live at the Legislature is a live half-hour weekly news program that focuses on the issues, legislation, and topics happening in Hawaii's legislature.
With what is happening. Videos are arranged by
legislative process. Stop by the Public Access Room. By the Public Legislative process. Easy way to get. Are you looking for an easy way to get involved in the legislative process? Stop by the Public Access Room located in Room 401 at the Hawaii State Capitol. The Public Access Room provides citizens 401 room located by the Public Access. Stop by the public process. Stop by the public. Are you looking for an easy way to get involved in the legislative process? Stop by the Public Access Room located in Room 401 at the Hawaii State Capitol. The Public Access Room provides citizens of Hawaii's facilities, services, and equipment to enhance their ability to participate in the legislative process. The public is welcome to track and affect legislation pending before the Hawaii State Legislature.
Aloha and welcome to Live at the Legislature. I'm Jill Kuramoto. Every week we sit down with Hawaii senators to talk about the events and the issues that are happening within the Senate during this legislative session. And this morning we are joined by Senator Mike Gabbard. Senator Gabbard represents District 20, which encompasses Kapolei to Makakilo to Kunia. And Senator Gabbard is the chair of the Senate Committee on Agriculture and Environment. Good morning to you. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning, Jill. Thank you for having me.
I know there's a lot of critically important bills and resolutions that have come out of your committee this session. Let's get right into it. Let's start talking about some of these and their impact on the state.
Sure.
First of all, there's a number of measures that address the protection of animal species. One of them, Senate Bill 2078, calls for the research into the pueo, the Hawaiian short-eared owl. And there's also Senate Bill 2079, which protects sharks and manta rays. Tell us about the need for this.
You know, Jill, on the pueo, I first became aware of this issue, potential problem in my district out in West Oahu. Some community members had taken some video of the pueo, and there was some concern that the developed second city coming up out there was going to wreak havoc on the habitat for pueo habitats, etc. So anyway, I thought, well, why not get everybody together in a town hall meeting? And so we had one in August of 2016 at UH West Oahu. And we found that, in fact, pueo is an endangered species on Oahu, and that very little research had been done since statehood on the pueo. So we got UH in there, DLNR, Department of Land and Natural Resources, U.S. Fish and Wildlife Services, and community members, just to start talking about what can we do, is this a problem? And so as a result of that town hall meeting in 2017, we passed Senate Resolution 6, which asked DLNR to do a study. And so the interim report from that study came out in October of last year. The final one is coming out in a couple months in June, and that'll be like the baseline for what to do from here. So this particular SB 2078, it asked for about $300,000 in appropriations to help DLNR in collaboration with CTAR to do a 2-year study of the foraging and breeding, all things that have to do with pueo, so we can say, okay, here's the plan of action. So actually that one is in the third reading in front of the whole House will happen on, most likely on April 10th.
Okay, coming up. And then sharks and manta rays.
It was 2010 when shark fins were banned. The taking of shark fins were banned here in Hawaii, and also manta rays. And the problem was that you could still take the whole shark. So what this bill, 2079, says, you cannot capture, kill whole sharks. And also it expands not just manta rays, but all rays. And the penalties, it's a misdemeanor. First offense is $500, second offense $2,000 fine, third and subsequent offense $10,000. So this has to do with our ocean ecosystems, and there's a decline in the shark population. DLNR is saying they can't do their job because the existing law does not prevent people from just, you know. So anyway, and the other thing with the banning of the shark fins, they found that manta ray gill soup started showing up in restaurants. And so what this does, it expands to all rays, not just manta rays. Yeah.
Okay, well, in terms of agriculture, Senate Bill 2116 creates a Biosecurity Emergency Response Special Fund. Tell us about the need for this.
Okay, right now, you know, when you live in paradise, you want to keep the invasive species, the critters and the plants out of here, and right now there's no special fund for emergencies. One of the things that we always talk about is the brown tree snake from Guam, right? So this would basically make it so that DLNR could request the governor to declare an emergency on a particular species, and then boom, we could start like that. Now, I'm not saying that this would have made a difference in terms of coqui frogs or little fire ants, But they really need the tools to be able to do this when something like this happens. Hopefully it won't happen, but just in case.
Just in case.
Yeah.
It's good to have. All right, well, addressing Hawaii's commitment to reduce our dependence on fossil fuels, I know you introduced Senate Bill 2122, which creates or encourages the use of electric vehicles, but it also limits the exceptions for free parking for EVs. So how does this strike a balance between those who have EVs and those who don't?
Well, as an EV owner, I can speak firsthand to this. 2012 is when, and our whole movement away from fossil fuels, the whole idea was to attract people into getting away from their gas guzzling vehicles into EVs. And so what the law that we passed in 2012 said that you can park your EV in state and county parking, whether it's a parking meter or parking structures, for free. And also for free at the airport for 24 hours. Well, the Department of Transportation came out and said they could not enforce the 24-hour parking thing at the airport because the AG's office said it was not defensible in court. And so I think DOT came out with a figure that $2.5 million that would have gone in the state coffers, EV, that's what had EV owners been paying, that's what they were saving, right? And so what this does, it beefs it up and just says the 24-hour rule will be enforced. And a good example of this is I was talking to an EV owner, and she said, oh yeah, I took my vacation. I parked out at the airport and parked my Leaf out there, and I went over to Arizona for 2 weeks, came back, and it was really cool. I didn't have to pay my... And I said, because she had heard that the 24-hour rule was not being enforced. So,
okay.
So this is going to fix that.
All right, well, we're running out of time here, but I know that you wanted to talk about hemp.
Yep.
Hemp. Hemp is happening.
Hemp is happening. The bill, I think it's 2556, right? It sets up a special fund. The whole hemp story here is just amazing. 1999, it was December 14th when Governor Cayetano proclaimed that day as Industrial Hemp Day for Hawaii. And so things just kind of fell asleep for 15 years. And so 2014, I introduced a bill, 2016 and 2017, that set up a pilot program. And it's over 25,000 products are made from industrial hemp. And for the viewers out there, just because it is a cousin of marijuana, but you cannot get high on industrial hemp. But these products, a guy a former NBA coach on Maui, he built his house out of hempcrete instead of concrete. And there's clothing, and so my vision for this has been a cottage industry with the Hawaii branding. Hawaiian hemp shampoo, Hawaiian hemp granola, Hawaiian hemp aloha shirts, right? And so I think this is going to be a real boon for our economy, for our farmers. I know the Hawaii Farmers Union, they did a survey of their farmers. Over 100 farmers said, get us the seed, we want to put it in the ground. So where it is right now is that they've been, there were 3 contractors that have planted the locally acclimated seed. I'm not sure, the plants are about 5 or 6 feet tall is what I'm told. They're going to be harvesting it soon. And as soon as that happens, that local seed will be available to farmers to buy the seed and start planting hemp.
All right, so stay tuned.
Yes.
It's still happening. All right, thank you, Senator Gabbard.
Yes.
And thank you for watching Live at the Legislature. We'll see you next week.
Live at the Legislature is a live half-hour weekly news program that focuses on the issues, legislation, and topics of importance emerging from this year's legislative session. Each week, state senators and representatives provide a variety of perspectives on the issues from both sides of the aisle. Tune in to Live at the Legislature weekly to get exclusive updates on what's happening in Hawaii's legislature.
Do you know your legislators? Visit capital.hawaii.gov and enter your street name to find detailed information about your representatives and senators. From your district number to the committees and current bills your legislators have introduced, this is an easy way to stay up to date with what is happening in your community. If you're looking for detailed information concerning Hawaii State Senate and House hearings, please visit olelo.org/gov-archives. Videos are arranged by date, with the most recent at the top of the list.
Are you looking for an easy way to get involved in the legislative process? Stop by the Public Access Room located in Room 401 at the Hawaii State Capitol. The Public Access Room provides citizens of Hawaii's facilities, services, and equipment to enhance their ability to participate in the legislative process. The public is welcome to track and affect legislation pending before the Hawaii State Legislature.
Live at the Legislature is a live half-hour weekly news program that focuses on the issues, legislation, and topics of importance emerging from this year's legislative session. Each week, state senators and representatives provide a variety of perspectives on the issues from both sides of the aisle. Tune in to
Welcome back to Live at the Legislature, where every week we talk about the issues, bills, and happenings at the Hawaii House of Representatives. With us this week, we have Representative Roy Takumi, who is the chairman of the Consumer Protection and Commerce Committee and represents Pearl City and Waipio. Good morning.
Good morning.
We're about halfway through the session now, a little more than half, and a lot of important bills have already gone through. But what often gets overlooked is some of the consumer issues that are important to people in their daily lives. Let's talk about a few of those that are going through your committee.
Sure.
Starting with House Bill 1623 about national advertisers.
Yeah, that bill, well, before I start on that, James, I think
Yes.
it's important for the community to know, just as you pointed out, that of the thousands of bills that are introduced in the legislature, the media tends to focus in on those big issues.
Yes.
Death with dignity, for example. And yet the legislative process is mainly made up of thousands of these types of bills that affect the daily lives of our people.
I see.
This is one bill. And so what this bill would do is to say that if a franchise restaurant, generally you're talking about Chili's, Outback Steak, and so on, does a commercial on TV that they advertise you can get 2 entrees for $20 or a dinner for $15.99, and there's a little disclaimer on the bottom that goes on for about 3 seconds that nobody really pays attention to, that it's not available in Hawaii.
Oh.
So you show up at the restaurant, you walk in, you sit down, you get served water, the menus, and then you ask about that special, and the wait help will say, well, it's not available in Hawaii. The dilemma for that consumer, that customer, is what do? And so I believe that if 10 customers walk in, you're going to get a few that say, or maybe more than a few that say, you know what, we're here anyway, let's just stay. Now, I don't think they're engaging in a deceptive practice, but the result is it's sort of a bait and switch, that you go in there expecting to get this advertised special and it's not available. The bill would require that these franchise post in a conspicuous location at the front of the restaurant that whatever special you saw advertised is not available. So then you as a consumer have the right to say, well, let's go here anyway, or let's go somewhere else.
Isn't there a disclaimer, though, in their ads that says it's not available in Hawaii?
Yes. If you read on the bottom, it's
Oh.
I've paid more attention to it now that the bill was introduced, that it goes so quickly and it's so illegible that it's almost meaningless.
Okay. Well, that's a good one. House Bill 1621, product warranty. What is that bill all about?
Yeah, the product warranty bill, again, there are companies in our state, T-Mobile comes to mind, that if you buy a phone from T-Mobile and you take it home and a month later it doesn't work, and so you bring it back to the store and you say the phone doesn't work, it's still under warranty. And T-Mobile will say, okay, we'll take it back, but then they'll charge you a fee anywhere from $5 to $20 to replace a phone that was defective. That is not right to me. Most retailers engage in good business practices. If you return something that's defective, say to Costco, they will gladly replace it for a product that works. But there are some retailers out there that charge the consumer a fee. What this bill will do is to say, if someone returns a product that is defective and still under warranty, that retailer cannot charge a fee to get it replaced.
That's a good one, because you wouldn't even know that was coming. You'd walk in and you'd think
It's a rude awakening.
Yeah.
And you walk in there and you find out, wait a minute, in this case, the phone doesn't work. They said, well, we're sorry to hear that, but where's your money?
Yeah. Okay, the next one, House Bill 1626, Sunset Memorial Park, which is in your district, I understand.
Yeah, Sunset Memorial Park has been a long-standing issue in Pearl City, but it's not a unique situation in the state. Here's the problem, James. There are a number of cemeteries in our state that are privately owned, and they don't have the capacity, the resources to continue to maintain that cemetery forever. Keep in mind, the business model for cemeteries is you buy a plot for X amount of dollars, and the owner of that cemetery assures and guarantees that your plot, the cemetery in general, will be well maintained forever.
Forever.
Yes. On its face, it seems that's kind of hard to believe.
Yeah.
What happened to Sunset Memorial is that the maintenance went down, it got into some disrepair, the mausoleum got vandalized, and there was really no one that was taking responsibility for it. This bill would accomplish two things. One, it would limit the liability for volunteers or nonprofit organizations that in good faith want to help maintain that cemetery. Now, mainly this is made up of people whose grandmother or grandfather, whatever, are buried there, and they want to maintain it to look like a cemetery should look. The second part of the bill requires that the Department of Commerce and Consumer Affairs and the comptroller come up with a plan on how, in a long-term way, that these cemeteries can be maintained. Sunset Memorial in particular, but other cemeteries in the state in general. This is a growing problem across the country, where you have these cemeteries that don't have a side business. The cemeteries that you see that are well-maintained and look really nice and so on, generally it's because they do funeral services, they do other types of businesses that help to bring in revenue to maintain the cemetery.
Yeah.
But you have a lot of small, privately owned graveyards that don't have that capacity, and therefore it goes into disrepair.
So this will create a watchdog type overlooking their business and what they do.
Yeah, you know, it all depends what the DCCA and the comptroller come up with. People don't know that the state already maintains a couple of cemeteries that they took over back in the 1940s. So taxpayers, unknown perhaps to them, are paying to maintain these, what was private cemeteries, because unlike Starbucks or a noodle shop down the street, if it goes out of business, oh well.
Yeah.
But a cemetery going out of business, it's very difficult.
Yeah.
You just can't say, oh well, and sell the land.
That's your family.
Yes.
Yeah. That sounds good. Another one is House Bill 2342 on credit reports.
Credit reporting, quick one. I think we all know about the breach that happened at Equifax, where personal information was hacked.
Oh, right.
Approximately 123 million Americans' personal information was vulnerable, including 450,000 people in Hawaii. What this bill would do is to say these credit reporting companies, Experian, Equifax, and so on, if you call them and you say, I want a credit freeze, reporting freeze, or I want to release that freeze, they charge you $5. This bill would say you cannot charge a fee when, in fact, it was your fault that the information was breached.
When it was the company's fault, it's not
Absolutely.
your fault.
But they do charge you $5.
Well, can we just quickly, we just have a few seconds left, this House Bill 2539, a master plan for public hearings.
Yeah, this was an issue that came up in the Waipahu area with a development that people did not know that the developer could change the plans midstream. This would require that master plan, the original master plan, be followed.
I see. Well, there's a lot going on with consumer protection, and like you say, it doesn't always get the headlines, but it's really important to our
Right.
people out there.
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, thank you for joining us, and thank you for joining us again. We'll see you next week on Live at the Legislature.
Live at the Legislature is a live half-hour weekly news program that focuses on the issues, legislation, and topics of importance emerging from this year's legislative session. Each week, state senators and representatives provide a variety of perspectives on the issues from both sides of the aisle. Tune in to Live at the Legislature Weekly to get exclusive updates on what's happening in Hawaii's legislature.
you looking for an easy way to get involved in the legislative process? Stop by the Public Access Room located in Room 401 at the Hawaii State Capitol. The Public Access Room provides citizens of Hawaii's facilities, services, and equipment to enhance their ability to participate in the legislative process. The public is welcome to track and affect legislation pending before the Hawaii State Legislature.
Do you know your legislators? Visit capitol.hawaii.gov and enter your street name to find detailed information about your representatives and senators. From your district number to the committees and current bills your legislators have introduced, this is an easy way to stay up to date with what is happening in your community. If you're looking for detailed information concerning Hawaii State Senate and House hearings, please visit olelo.org/gov-archives. Videos are arranged by date, with the most recent at the top of the list.
Live at the Legislature is a live half-hour weekly news program that focuses on the issues, legislation, and topics of importance emerging from this year's legislative session. Each week, state senators and representatives provide a variety of perspectives on the issues from both sides of the aisle. Tune in to Live at the Legislature Weekly to get exclusive updates on what's happening in Hawaii's legislature.
Morning, America, and thanks for joining us here live at the Ledge on this beautiful Aloha rainy Monday, but we're happy here. Smiles. I'm Crystal Akana Pang here with Representative Andrea Tupola and House Minority Leader. Good morning. You're looking fabulous.
Oh, thank you. Good morning. How was your Easter?
It was wonderful. Oh. I didn't find the golden egg, but it was still great.
Oh, much needed 3-day though.
Yes, for sure. Okay, so we're a week away from second crossover. Now, let's just explain to people who are watching, what is second crossover mean? What is that all about?
So crossover means from the House to the Senate or the Senate to the House. Because I'm a State House representative, second crossover means that we've just heard all of the Senate bills and now we're about to vote to either determine whether or not they pass or whether they get put into conference committee, meaning that there's a House and a Senate version that maybe disagree, and then those go into conference, and then we take our final votes. There are some bills, however, that are called clean bills, which means that there's not that last process. Clean bills are such where both the Senate or the House haven't amended it, and it's actually a version that both agree on, and those go actually straight up to the governor's office.
So clean bills, seems simpler that you guys all agree?
If you think about some of those bills that actually are called clean bills, I mean, they've been going through this chamber as well as the House chamber multiple times. People are probably unaware that the rate of passage of a bill in the State House legislature is under 10%. So some of these bills have been heard up to 16, maybe even 32 times before they actually had full agreeance and then passed through.
Okay, so we do agree. We do agree here at the Capitol.
Very few times,
yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so some of the bills from your caucus is going to the second crossover. Do you know any of those bills that are present?
Yeah, so two that we're particularly keeping our eye on. One has to do with opioids. And as many people are very well aware, we have a crisis going on. People are very concerned of the overprescription of opioids, as well as the lack of protocols in pharmacies to recollect these opioids and take in the overprescription of medication. So this bill introduced by Representative Thielen has to do specifically with labeling opioids to warn people that it can be addictive. The second bill that is also passed through the House and now is passing through the Senate is introduced by Representative Bob McDermott, and it's in regards to a specific road in Eva that has multiple owners, multiple agencies, and has been really underkept as well as very dangerous for kids that are walking to school. So this bill is seeking to find the funds to actually consolidate all the ownership and put in infrastructure needed so that there's a safety for children walking to school.
Okay. You are in the Finance Committee. There are about 150 bills that are coming to the Finance Committee. How do you decide where the money goes, which bill will still stay alive, which bill will get funded?
So there's two parts of the Finance Committee that people should know. One is bills that contain appropriations, but the second thing is that we also deal with the budget. So the budget has to do with a lot of line items. I've had frequent calls from people with grant in aids, which are called GIAs, and people want to know, am I going to get a GIA? There's also something called a SPRB that stands for a Special Purpose Revenue Bond. That's also an allocation of state taxpayer dollars that are given to companies that are supposed to be helping the economy or bringing in more dollars into the economy. So there's lots of different bills that we vote on, but there's different characteristics to it, from bills with dollar prices on it, to the budget, to GIAs, to SPRBs. And actually, personally, as a representative, I don't have full discretion over yes and no on all of those. It's actually a compilation of representatives as well as senators that have to come together and decide which ones are priorities.
So there is some type of disappointment when there are bills that your committee would like to fund, but there's not enough money for it?
I think that's always the big debate across the state of Hawaii is there really not money in the state? And the answer is no. There's lots of money coming in the state. What people want to know is, why are they not a priority? You know, why is certain rural areas not prioritized? Why are the counties not prioritized? So one of the bills that's coming through, we just voted on the House side, and this had to do with giving extra transit accommodation tax money to Kauai County, Maui County, and Hawaii County. And the reason why Oahu wasn't part of that is because, as you know, last year there was a very controversial special session about the TAT being allocated statewide for an Oahu project. So this bill, SB 648, seeks to give additional funding to these counties because of the hit that they took last year, as well as the discontent with residents across the state on having to pay for an Oahu project. So the bill specifically states that I believe Kauai County would be getting $9 million, Hawaii would be getting 12, and Maui County would be getting $14 million, in addition to whatever they're getting in the TAT funding currently.
That's great. Are there any bills that are still alive that you're excited about?
Well, I think for me, a lot of it is appropriation bills. I mean, of course, we want to see our caucus member bills actually get passed. As you know, it's very few and far between when we have a minority bill get passed, but there are points that we have brought up that many Democrats agree with, a lot of good initiatives as well as policies that need to be changed. And so every chance that we do get to have a minority caucus bill cross over to the Senate and then come back or even get passed is a win for our caucus.
Would you like to see the process? I know we're just throwing this out there. I'm throwing this out there, putting you on the spot. Would you like to see the process here at the Hawaii State Capitol a little different? You know, other states, they only meet every other year. What do you think how the process in Hawaii has been?
I think two things. One is that people do actually think that we're passing way too many bills that we don't understand anything about. One of them in specific was in regards to a special purpose revenue bond that was for $25 million for a company called Spin Launch to do something in Puna on the south side of Hawaii Island, which many of us don't know, one, the area, two, who is this company, but there's multiple SPRBs, multiple GIAs. So would I like to see there be less bills and more depth into us understanding it? Absolutely. Absolutely. The second thing that I think about too, when you have less days that you meet, is that you can actually get into your communities more often. And I feel like then we can start to speak the community language that people feel like we're missing here because we're so concerned about statewide policies and forgetting that some of these communities are dying without some of this really pertinent funding.
Speaking of getting into the communities, you're really active in your community as well as communities nearby that you don't even represent, but you still go out of your way to help them. You have an ukulele bash coming up?
Yes, so April 20th at the Lagoon 4 at Ko'olina, and this is in regards to the arts and music programs on the west side. So as you know, there's very little funding for it, so I try to take proactive initiatives where I create festivals or create events where we can kind of fill that gap where government can't fill and nonprofits can't fill. It's a free event. The public is welcome to come from 6 to 7 to a free concert. We're inviting all the students on the west side to participate in the prior initiative, which is that they'll be learning how to build and play ukulele.
And for more details, they can check out your Facebook page?
Yes, they can check out our Facebook page. Please call my office if you have any questions, 586-8465. There's still a few days left in the legislature. We want to hear your voices. I still need to cast some votes, so please call us, get involved, and let us be a part of making a better Hawaii.
Thank you so much with Representative Andrea Tupola, House Minority Leader. I'm Crystal Akana-Pang. Thank you so much for joining us here live at the Ledge. Until next time, we'll see you later. Aloha.